A few weeks into my sophomore year, I could already tell this was a waste of time. It couldn't get more mundane. That tiny dorm building only housed 23 students, and all my life revolved around were classes and study sessions. I would be lucky if I even had time to hang out with a friend. The midterms were approaching, which meant I barely had human interactions at all. With strict staff and days that just blend together, I was already counting down the day I get out of here. For the most part, I had no interest in getting into trouble. Every night, I abided by the 11 p.m. curfew like clockwork, sliding into bed by 10:30 p.m. and trying my best to make the day end as soon as possible. After all, every 5 minutes starting from 10:30 p.m. until 10:45 p.m., the dorm speakers echo a robotic voice saying, "Stay in bed." As far as I know, it happened every single night without fail. No one questioned it. All students made sure to follow the clear orders. In any case, no one was interested in getting an earful. After so long though, I still couldn't tell if a staff member bothered to repeat those directions or if it was just a lazy recording. As the early days of autumn rolled in, the nights grew longer, the campus feeling eerily still. I welcomed the chill in the air with my oversized sweater. I should finally be comfortable as I settle into bed. Yet, on that night, I could feel a sense of unease creeping in. I blamed my night study sessions and my caffeine-filled system for my increased paranoia the past few weeks. As darkness fell, the feeling of being watched returned night after night. But one dreadful night, my unease morphed into tangible fear. While in bed, I glanced outside my window. That's when I saw it, a massive green locust, alive yet eerily frozen. Its large glistening eyes fixated squarely on me. I pulled back, a shiver coursing down my spine. Was this thing really watching me? It's just an insect, I rationalized. It probably just found a cozy nook. The following nights, much to my growing horror, it returned, perched in the same spot, unmoving at precisely the same hour. I couldn't escape the thought, what was it thinking? Could it even think? For reasons I couldn't explain, it was particularly unsettling. I didn't dare talk about it to anyone, not wanting to risk getting mocked for being afraid of a mere insect. But as my thoughts spiraled, the locust became an inescapable obsession. Each night, I found myself counting the minutes until it made its appearance. What did it want? Has it always been there? I found myself getting increasingly more curious night after night. My curiosity transformed into determination. I needed to know just how long it sits there and watches. The idea of being watched for the entirety of the night was creeping me out. I quickly set an alarm for 2 a.m. Awaked by the alarm 3 hours later, I was bleary-eyed and disoriented in the dark. To my surprise, I was greeted by an absence. The locust was gone. Relief washed over me, yet it left behind a lurking curiosity. Why did it keep returning at the same hour every night? I felt a mixture of dread and intrigue. Finally, I decided to peer out the window. A pit formed in my stomach when my eyes landed on the scene in front of me. A swarm of locusts feasting ravenously on something rotting. The nauseating stench was unbearable. A jumbled mess of bloody pale fingers. And dangling from their mandibles, lifeless eyeballs, staring at me as if making a silent plea for help. I shuddered. The mere number of them sent shivers down my spine. I could practically feel my heart slamming against my chest. Do they know I'm watching? Should I not be watching? Just how sentient are they? My thoughts began spiraling. The instinct to report this horror hit me. I couldn't possibly move on with my life after witnessing such monstrosity. Am I next? Were those eyeballs? No, calm down, you're going crazy. I struggled to regain my composure. Only a couple hours later was I finally able to get back to sleep. As sunlight crept in, I woke up feeling exhausted. I tried to shake off the image of the swarm, but they lingered like shadows. Eventually, I reached my class, still feeling foggy from the previous sleepless night. I needed to know what was going on. My first class dragged painfully. Although I was filled with dread, I couldn't help but exit into the yard, where I finally reached that spot. Around me laid scrapes of black and reddened leaves, remnants of the horrors that occurred just hours ago. I took a deep breath, thoughts swirling in my mind. I had to tell someone before I start losing it. "You won't believe what I saw last night," I said in a shaky voice as I passed my friend Mark in the hallway. He quickly interrupted. "Sorry man. Gotta hurry to class." "I'm late," he called over his shoulder as he hurried down the hall. Disheartened, I let out a sigh and watched as he left me with my unshared burden. The night got darker, and the air got even chillier than the previous nights. I could almost feel it through my bones. Lying down in bed, I tried to ignore my anxious thoughts, but that didn't come easily, not when the guardian by my window was missing. Tonight, it decided to go elsewhere. I wondered why. I tossed and turned, trying my best to have deep, steady breaths. Finally, I gave in to exhaustion. Hours later, I woke up abruptly, my chest tight as if a heavy weight settled upon it. I felt immense guilt. When I opened my eyes, the sight that met me was nothing short of a nightmare. There, hovering just inches from my face, sat the very locust that had plagued my nights. Its enormous black eyes bore into mine. My muscles clenched. I felt my blood running cold in my veins. Paralyzed by sheer terror, I couldn't move a muscle. And then, as if summoned, a swarm exploded, pouring over me. I felt their elongated legs scratch against my skin, their bodies crushing against my chest. They are here for vengeance, I realized as my eyes widened in horror, for I witnessed their grotesque feast. Chaos erupted. The hungry beasts turned my room into a battlefield. Papers flew off my desk. They started tearing at me mercilessly and furiously, while leaving nauseating pain and dread. I am getting devoured alive. My heart drummed wildly. The weight of terror was suffocating. I need to escape. I must. After what seemed like an eternity, at last, I reached for the door with all my might and sprint into the nearest emergency exit, not daring to look behind. I rushed to the nearest bus station, stumbling all the way. The whole trip was a haze. A little over an hour later, I finally got back to the safety of my home. I could finally find solace. The next morning came, I did not get a wink of sleep. Still shaking under my sheets and drenched in sweat. As I laid there, attempting to regain my senses, I realized how close I had come to a horrifying fate. My breath came in shallow gasps while my heart raced. I couldn't take it anymore. I hopped into the shower, still exhausted, hoping to wash away the terrors. I decided then to grab something to eat. "Hey, I didn't expect to see you here." My brother was startled to see me enter the kitchen early in the morning. "When did you arrive anyway?" "Last night," I mumbled. My face must have shown signs of unspoken horrors. "How come?" "I just needed some things," I said while avoiding eye contact and grabbing whatever leftovers I could find. He didn't press any further and decided to change the subject. "Oh yeah. Did I tell you about my new pet I got the other day?" "No, I'll check it out later," I replied as I left to my room. I felt bad. He seemed enthusiastic, but I'm not in the mood to discuss pets right now. I just need to lie in bed and clear my head. I should finally feel at ease, but I can't shake off the feeling of looming danger breathing down my neck. Wherever I look, I see eyes lurking in the corners, begging me to let my guard down. I can still hear their buzzing in my ears.